YouTube! We got another tornado reaction video. Today we're going to be looking at the Bridge Creek tornado. Supposedly this was the strongest tornado ever recorded as far as like wind speeds and such. So, let's get it.
It's May 3rd, 1999, and reporter Dan Anderson
1999.
is sitting in Moore.
Wait, yeah, it was actually fixing to say it, but I remembered. There was also a Moore, Oklahoma got hit in 1999 by a really tough tornado.
Oklahoma. He is filming the strongest tornado ever recorded consume the city.
Wait, was this in Moore?
Oh my gosh.
It's 1999, and it's been
Wait a minute.
6 years since the state of Oklahoma had seen a single violent tornado. Despite being the tornado capital of the world, areas such as Canada and Massachusetts had seen much stronger tornadoes in leading years.
Massachusetts?
While some saw this
Really?
as good news, others knew the potential Oklahoma had, and that the good luck would run out eventually.
So is this it? Is this the Bridge Creek one?
About a half a mile down the road from us, it is definitely a wedge. I mean, based on visual, it's at least an F3. It's at least an F3, Gary. We've got debris hitting us at the side of the truck from the west wind.
Dude, they're forever
As the
away
tornado
too.
began to become smaller. A thin satellite tornado was captured orbiting the main circulation.
And this
Oh yeah, look how cool that is.
and that one is getting bigger.
Oh.
The main one is getting bigger too, much bigger.
Just a few minutes later, another storm chaser, Oliver Smith, would capture the tornado disappearing once again.
Oh, it's going away.
But of course, just as the F3 dissipates, the storm spins up a new area of rotation. This time, it was quite disorganized, a thin, wispy F2 over the Chickasha, Oklahoma airport. Despite being relatively weak, it was able to damage multiple of the buildings on the property before again
So
lifting.
rip the
Something
roof
different
off one
was
of those
observed
buildings.
From this F2, however, as although quite thin, the core of the vortex began digging up swaths of the top layer of soil, a process known as ground scouring, only seen in some of the strongest tornadoes. If a thin and wispy tornado from the storm could produce this level of damage, what an established and long-lived tornado could do is scary to think about. Unfortunately, the residents of central Oklahoma would get the answer to this question. Stretching out from Oklahoma City lies Interstate 44. Along the interstate are multiple overpasses that connect the road to other communities. Communities such as Amber and Bridge Creek, Oklahoma. Near an
Oh, here it
overpass
is.
east of Amber, storm chaser Mike Duncan and his colleagues are sitting. They're getting footage for the news station KFOR, the same news station thousands are now tuning into as an apparent tornado outbreak is beginning. As the storm's base comes into their view, they notice something. Broad rotation encompasses the clouds, almost like the entire storm is trying to spin. Mike begins to film what he's seeing.
Dude, look at that rotation. Oh, it's touching down.
Cloudy tentacles of dust begin to swirl sporadically under the clouds before a thin funnel takes over. It's not long before the funnel lifts up, but as Mike zooms out, something terrifying is seen. Dust is swirling underneath the entire cloud, as if the circulation is the entire cloud, which would be over half a mile wide. The rotation gets stronger as it becomes clear something is very different about this tornado. The new tornado's track is already incredibly wide as it begins east of Amber. It strengthens slightly as trees are ripped up and small farm buildings are destroyed. David Payne is chasing for the news station KOCO. As he and his partner drive down the interstate, they notice a sudden change in the tornado's look.
Near Amber. Ground again, and what you're looking at
So it's heading to Amber right now.
Rotating tornado, estimated width there.
How fast is that thing moving?
Maybe a quarter of a mile wide, and again, winds in there approaching 200 miles an hour. Where we are, we have winds flowing into the tornado right now at about that.
Dude, did you see how big that thing got? Just like... Oh my goodness.
Within just a couple of seconds, the wispy tendrils conglomerate into a massive and violent wedge tornado. At the same time, the tornado begins to strengthen rapidly. Ground scouring appears once again as the grass is dug away in a swirling pattern underneath the tornado. Except this time, it's not in the middle of fields. It approaches its first target, a small
God, here we go,
subdivision of
dude.
homes along Dewey Edwards Drive. As it approaches, houses not even in the core are damaged, and as it crosses over the road, 4 homes are leveled to the ground. Their debris is thrown into a tree line to their east, which is mangled and shredded. Within just a few minutes, the tornado had become incredibly violent. Mike Duncan is still filming. He watches as the wedge tornado morphs in shape while quickly rotating. Soon, another shift in the tornado's appearance occurs.
Has it got another tornado rotating around it? Contrast enhanced. Dude, that entire cloud's just rotating. The entire storm's just
Within
rotating.
just a couple of seconds, the tornado falls apart before coming back even stronger. Past the subdivision of homes, the tornado continues, where it's now heading directly for the community of Bridge Creek, Oklahoma.
Oh, here it
the
is.
monster now most likely has
This is
some
what
of the
it's known
strongest winds
for.
conceivable on Earth. The tornado has no intentions of lifting as it crosses through multiple fields, beelining straight for the first road of Bridge Creek, County Road 2948. As it crosses, the forward speed of the tornado begins to slow down slightly,
Check Hall
allowing
Road?
the tornado to slowly crawl over the neighborhoods. Within just a few minutes, the area would be scrubbed off the earth. Trees in the core of the tornado were ripped out of their root systems entirely.
Oh, those trees wasn't just debarred, they were removed. Like they're gone.
Cost. Unfortunately, this area of Bridge Creek was very poor, and almost every single structure
Oh, it's
impacted
mobile
was a mobile
homes.
home, making it
This is gonna be bad right
even
here.
easier for the tornado to wipe everything away. The rest of the southwest side of Bridge Creek felt the same destruction. The tornado carved into the earth as it expanded to almost an entire mile wide.
My
One of
lord.
the homes destroyed was the Crago family home. In the destruction, Catherine Crago was killed. Her daughter, Amy, survived though, and Amy's 11-month-old baby was tossed into a field and caked in mud the moment an officer discovered her was
Oh,
captured
no.
on camera.
The baby's okay. Lord have mercy. Look, the baby's okay. Ain't that insane? Launch the child into an adjacent field. Caked in mud. Probably got hit with some debris. And they're okay. That's crazy, dude.
It exited the first neighborhood of Bridge Creek, crossing through
I
fields.
just, what do you even say about that? I'm glad the baby's okay, obviously. Holy, dude, that is wild.
And slowly crawling towards its next neighborhood, a subdivision along Red Rock Road. The damage here was almost insurmountable. The tough red clay that covered the area was completely dug up. Every single home in the neighborhood was swept cleanly away. A large portion of the asphalt road, over an inch thick, was ripped away here as well. Moving to the northeast, more rural subdivisions felt the wrath of the winds. Large homes were continuously swept away, and mobile homes practically disappeared. The most striking damage was not just
It ripped the tires off this truck. I mean, first off, the truck's a mangled mess, obviously. Ripped the entire back off. Ripped the tires off. Where's the... Is that the hood on top of the truck? Is that what that is? Is that the hood? Like, peeled back?
the homes and structures though. Some of the most extreme vehicle damage ever documented occurred near the southwest area.
Y'all see that right there, right? Like, that is just a mangled mess.
Of Bridge Creek, one truck had all of its insides gutted before it was wrapped like a blanket around a telephone pole.
How's that even possible? It's completely gutted, just like he said. But you know, I was trying to imagine that with like with no seats and stuff. The engine's gone. The engine is gone. And it looks like the front end of this thing is wrapped. Like, actually, you know, when I think of, like, when people tell me a vehicle is wrapped around a pole, you know, I imagine like that T-bone look. The vehicle's kind of like bent in some, you know, that's crazy. This here is actually wrapped. Like, oh man, the amount of force needed to do that.
All the while being caked in copious amounts of dirt. Practically no grass remained in the core of the tornado, making the damaged areas appear more like a drought than a tornado.
Oh
Tree
my
lines
God.
are mangled down to the ground, stripped of their bark, and sprayed with bits of
They're not
cars,
just stripped of their
homes,
bark
and
too, man.
buildings,
Like, some of those
leaving
things have been like
behind piles of
de-rooted.
unidentifiable shrapnel.
And they're
Val
all
and
laid
Kelsey
over.
Are now watching as they parallel the wedge.
Like, I've seen them from the Gerald, Texas one, Moore, El Reno. You know, the trees are still upright. They're debarked. You know, limbs have been ripped off, you know, which is still mind-blowing. But the fact that these are not, these, it's also like picking the tree and the roots up, and then the ones that are still in there are leaned. Like it nearly pulled them out of the ground.
tornado across the interstate.
We're just about to get hit with debris. It's got to be on the turnpike now.
You need to get out of the way,
It's,
brother.
There's all
Continuing, the tornado impacted a large brick home. This home was very well anchored, and as the vortex passed, it was turned into dust. The only thing remaining
was that a
on the
brick
property
home?
was a slab swept perfectly clean, in small bushes and trees, sandpapered of their bark.
There's another
These
vehicle
images would
wrapped
depict
around
some of
something.
the worst tornado damage ever documented. Continuing through Bridge Creek, home after home and field after field was reduced to nothing. Mike Duncan films as two large vehicles pass him. These vehicles are nicknamed Dow
The
1
Dows.
and Dow 2.
Dopplers on wheels.
Standing for Doppler on wheels. Essentially,
I'm learning, boy. Hey, I'm learning. Okay, the information's sticking around in here a little bit. Give us a few more videos, right? We're gonna get there. We're not going to be as ignorant to this stuff.
a Doppler weather radar attached to a moving vehicle. The vehicles allow researchers to get radars.
I started watching
incredibly
Storm
close to
Chasers
storms,
too. I
which
found
in
some
turn
episodes.
allow them to collect important
We got the
scientific data,
TIV,
such as
the
wind
Dominator.
speeds inside tornadoes. The Dow trucks are currently scanning the air, and what they see is terrifying. Sustained winds of over 200 miles per hour are being logged, some of the strongest readings ever seen inside a tornado. As the tornado exits Bridge Creek, meteorologists begin to realize the severity of the situation. The tornado has shown no sign of stopping and is now beelining straight for the Oklahoma City metro, a massive city with hundreds of thousands of people. With death and damage updates slowly trickling through from Bridge Creek, the potential was realized. Something
Is that headed towards Oklahoma City? Yo, I had a guy actually comment in the Moore, Oklahoma video, and he actually told me he was from Oklahoma City. This is close to his home.
more dire than a tornado warning had to be issued at 6:57 p.m. The first ever tornado emergency is issued.
Also,
for the
people
cities
from
of
Moore, Oklahoma,
City,
talked to
and
me in that,
surrounding metro.
spoke to me in that
The warning
video.
read, tornado emergency in South Oklahoma City metro area. At 6:57 p.m. Central Time, A large tornado was moving along Interstate 44 west of Newcastle. On its present path, this large damaging tornado will enter southwest sections of the Oklahoma City metro area between 7:15 and 7:30 p.m. People in Moore and South Oklahoma City should take immediate tornado precautions. This is an extremely dangerous and life-threatening situation. If you were in the path of this large and destructive tornado, take cover immediately.
I'm reading this message, and once again, we're in Oklahoma. We're close to Moore, Oklahoma City. If you live in these places and you do not have an underground bunker, if you can afford one, of course, invest in it. You need to. To the governments of these places, Oklahoma City, especially Moore, you all have been hit like twice with massive tornadoes and had several other close calls. Build your civilians bunkers. Have like, I don't know, 2 or 3 community ones. That way when there's severe weather, they can go there, they can park there, and have a safe spot. A couple of community bunkers. It needs to happen. It needs to happen.
This wording is some of the most frightening ever written in a tornado warning. Mike Duncan and the Dow trucks are still following the vortex along Interstate.
And if I see that, I'm getting in the car.
Woo! It becomes increasingly wrapped in rain and debris. The tornado here is now practically invisible. As it engulfs more and more dirt, it begins to turn into a murky brown. Suddenly, a funnel starts to emerge from the rain. Something strange from within.
What's this guy doing?
Is occurring. The path begins to shrink.
These people are going to get hit with a car.
Erratic,
okay.
And as the smaller vortex emerges from the clouds, its violent motion becomes apparent.
Look at that thing. This is not sped up. This ain't sped up either. Oh, they got that Dow vehicle there getting good readings too. Look at that thing.
The tornado begins to slow
Jesus.
down, almost to the brink of stationary. The Dow trucks point the radar directly towards the funnel, and what they see is mind-blowing. The radar measures wind gusts in excess of 330 miles per hour, meaning the tornado now has the strongest winds ever measured on planet Earth. Unfortunately, this would occur.
Dude. Ooh, coat chills. Look, I remember like the El Reno, specifically in my head, didn't even reach 300. And that tornado was considered off the charts. They were getting readings over 330 miles per hour. That would explain why that vehicle was wrapped around the telephone pole.
In the absolute worst spot, as the tornado is now sitting directly over one of the overpasses on Interstate 44. Underneath the overpass, 2 men, a mother and her son, climb underneath the girders to shelter from the winds. The mother, Kathleen Walton, feels the winds accelerating upon them, and as the metal girders bend and squeal, she shields her son Levi with her body. Kathleen would be sucked from underneath and killed. She was described as a loving mother and generous to her friends.
That's sad, dude.
As the rest of the group climbed out,
R.I.P.
caked
to
in
the
mud,
mother, man.
Levi was heard screaming, "Where's my mom?" Kathleen was a single mother and described as all Levi had. This horrific narrative, sadly, was not unique. Dozens of deaths were now coming in from Bridge Creek as well.
Lord
The
have
tornado
mercy.
was destroying homes and families, and it had no plans of slowing down. In fact, it looked like the worst was yet to come. Underneath another overpass, another mother and her children, Tammy Holgren, and her 2 young daughters sat trying to save themselves from the tornado. Miraculously, the sporadic path meandered slightly to their south, sparing them from the same fate as the Waltons.
Thank the Lord.
A journalist was also sheltering near them and snapped another incredible image of the tornado leaving the scene. The sporadic nature of the tornado becomes even more apparent as it approaches the north side of Newcastle, Oklahoma. The vortex continues to thin out while still digging up the ground. Storm researcher Tim Marshall records as the vortex turns into a pronounced tube and crosses the road in front of him.
Oh, you can't see it too well, but look at that, dude.
Turn it this way. Turn it to the other way, please. The other way.
Oh, yeah, he threw the police in there. Dude, it looks like a A textbook tornado. Hard to
As the
believe that
storm
thing's
approaches
pumping
the
out
Canadian
330
River,
mile per
a
hour
moving feature
winds.
appears. A satellite tornado, far from the main one, touches down, dancing aimlessly in the field. The strange behavior from the storm could hint that it's getting ready to dissipate, but in reality, it's doing anything but dissipating. As it crosses the Canadian River, Tim watches the tornado suddenly and rapidly grow in size.
Ah, God, dude. What's it about to hit now? It already went through Bridge Creek.
The water and mud it picks up from the river fill up its entire windfield, creating a wall of darkness. Simultaneously, Jim Gardiner, the helicopter operator for K4, ascends his helicopter into the sky, and despite the strong winds and dark conditions, he's determined to broadcast the
Oh, you're
monster
playing a
to the
dangerous
people
game
of
there.
Oklahoma City.
Uh-uh.
As he finds his bearings and tilts the helicopter towards the south, he sees the monster in its entirety approaching the city.
We're getting a lot of turbulence here, Mike. We're right on the edge of the winds are just incredible when we went into Westheimer. There's no power at all. Mercy vehicles.
It's just a
there's
wall.
No power on the southwest side by Oklahoma City Will Rogers World Airport. And
At the exact same time as Leroy, reporter Dan Anderson finds an open area off the interstate in the suburbs of Moore in
Leroy!
Oklahoma City and begins to film the tornado from inside the metro.
South of Crossroads Mall, you're looking toward the south, and there's the large tornado on the ground now moving through.
The people of Oklahoma are now watching the strongest tornado of all time as it begins to devastate their communities, the first of which was a group of homes on the outskirts of Moore. The tornado
Oh,
never
God, is it gonna go
ceases
through
to
Moore,
cover the
too?
ground, and it continues to grow in size, crossing the intersection of Drexel Avenue and Southwest 149th Street. Multiple large, well-built homes are cored directly and destroyed. Its path is still rather sporadic, making strange twists and turns as it regains its bearings and widens. A group of homes on Highway 37 are the next target, being directly impacted. Every single home in the neighborhood sustains some level of damage,
My
including
goodness.
a handful that are swept off their foundations.
I still can't believe
It's
that
almost
car
like
that
the
was
tornado
wrapped around the
decided
telephone
to
pole.
grow
I can't
instantly
get
in
over
size
that.
and strength right as it entered the city. Now, with every inch the tornado travels, the areas it impacts will become more and more populated. The tornado meanders through a small field, mauling a tree
Oh, it's
line
about to go
before the
right
road
into a
begins to
little-
engulf the East Lake Estates
Oh,
neighborhood.
God.
Rows of exceptionally well-constructed homes are wiped away, in some cases, heaving up pipes and plumbing from within the foundation. The scale of the devastation in the neighborhood was mind-boggling, despite both being in interior rooms inside of bathtubs of well-built homes. 2 people would die in East Lake Estates. As the tornado exited the neighborhood, it brushed the Westmore High School, ripping off portions of the roofing.
So
Several
it did
cars
go
were
through,
thrown
like, parts of
and
Moore.
mangled beyond recognition. As it leaves the neighborhood, it crosses over Southwestern Avenue. Across the road sits the Emerald Springs apartment complex. Many tornadoes have struggled to fully destroy multi-story apartment buildings due to how large and reinforced they are, but not this tornado. Several 2-story tall structures from within the complex are reduced to their slabs, killing 3 people who attempted to shelter inside.
Oh my God. So that used to be like multi-story. Yeah, I mean, those are at least 2-3-story buildings. Flattened.
Crossing a tree line to the northeast, a subdivision of newly built townhomes lie. The tornado does not spare these either, again wiping multiple off their foundations. Back in the sky, Jim struggles to capture the entire tornado from his helicopter.
I mean, you can't even
but
see the
power
thing.
flashes near the base indicate electrical lines and transformers exploding, creating zero doubt that the tornado was consuming the neighborhoods. Past a field, the vortex crosses over North Santa Fe Avenue into more large residential areas of Moore, Oklahoma. Damage still does not falter. Hundreds of homes were destroyed or swept clean away, and the tornado's funnel filled more and more with granulated bits of cars, homes, and dirt. At
What's
one
this like?
time,
The
a
more
safe
Oklahoma
anchored to the
is just
foundation
Tornado
is
Alley
ripped
by
away
itself.
and tossed like a toy, and more plumbing is ripped from the ground as distorted cars impact now empty foundations. Somehow, the vortex
Those cars
is
were
still
shredded.
going. It approaches the main road of Moore, Interstate 35. Here, Dan Anderson watches as the tornado emerges, and he captures one of the most iconic pieces of tornado media ever.
Outages because these storms are moving into the metro area. We're going to have
Let's stay with
occasionally
that
some
shot. Look at the
interruption of
debris.
powers.
Look at all the debris. Look at all the debris in the air. Folks, please, we plead with you. You absolutely
It's just
have got to
remnants
get
of
down.
people's lives right there
Get
getting
to
through
the
around
lowest
like
level
nothing.
you possibly can. We
Parts of
plead,
homes,
do not
vehicles,
take the extra minute or two. We plead with you.
clothing.
Please, we plead with you. Go to your safe spot now. Take your radio. Forget the live pictures. Go get safe. Oh my gosh.
89, South 89.
Folks, we plead with you, just go to your safe spot if you possibly
we
can.
pray
That's an F. Look at the horizontal vortex. That is an F4 to an F5 tornado. That's
Mike.
winds of 250.
What causes those horizontal
Brad, go
vortexes
through it
like
right now.
that?
Shut down,
That's
get out,
insane.
Get out of there. This is a dangerous
It's like an
situation.
arm. It's like it's
Across
reaching
the
out.
interstate, the neighborhood of Highland Park was enveloped the same as every area previously. At this point, the tornado was full of so much debris that it was more akin to a massive blender than just tornadic winds. This blending allowed large trees to be sandpapered once again, leaving them as a skeleton.
Is that the same thing again? Once we talked about this earlier. It's one thing to have that little bend, like when you get T-boned or whatever. It is wrapped, fully wrapped. It would be like picking up a pancake, right? And just
Of bare wood. Cars were perpetually tossed like
I refuse to believe that used to be a car. That looks like you just mushed up some metal and threw a tire at the end of it.
toys, and some of the worst vehicle damage occurred here. Near the edge of the neighborhood, a very large home was completely swept away, with essentially nothing left. The photo became one of the most iconic tornado damage images, but reports are conflicting on if this was done by the tornado or a rumored house fire before the tornado. Whatever the case may be, it seems likely this level of damage could have easily been done by the vortex. By this point, the tornado had traveled over 30 miles straight and had caused consistent, mind-blowing damage to everything it touched. However, the worst of the devastation was possibly just to come. Just a couple miles to
No
the
shot.
east, the projected path was now aiming straight for a large trailer home park. If
Oh,
large brick
no.
homes were failing to sustain the winds of the tornado, the death and destruction to a packed community of mobile homes would be indescribable. As the tornado continued to approach, a miracle seemed to occur. The path began to slightly curve to the north. However, the new track was now heading potentially towards something worse. Along Highway 240 to the north,
Oh, it's still going to hit some of those
several
mobile
industrial
homes.
warehouses and metal buildings were placed. One of the buildings, American Freightways, held dozens of employees, all hunkering down as the tornado approached them. As the winds impacted the area, trucks and metal equipment began to be slammed and tossed violently. Mud splattered against the debris.
Oh, man, that's pretty
as the
much a
ground
direct
continued
hit.
to be dug up. Unfortunately, 2 employees would die in the impact. The tornado
R.I.P.,
continued
man.
to the north, curving towards the community of Del Air. Just like every community that came before, the neighborhood was obliterated and 6 people died. To the east sat the Tinker Air Force Base, where hundreds of Air Force
What a
residents
beast of a
stayed.
tornado.
In a stroke of luck, the tornado continued to curve to the north, just barely missing the base. After the base, the tornado began to shrink once again, but it also began to weaken slightly. The first time we had seen a substantial weakening since the tornado touched down. It crosses over more industrial buildings, only partially destroying them. As it crosses Interstate 40, a neighborhood to the north of the highway would be the next target, and the destruction remained devastating, killing 3 people.
Aw.
Finally, without any
This thing needs to
warning,
go away.
the damage would cease. The tornado had lifted, and the carnage ended with it.
Dude, right
Over
at the
36
edge of that
people
town.
would be found deceased, with over 500 significantly injured, making it the deadliest tornado in over 50 years. One survivor was uninjured, but unfortunately died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in reaction to losing his home in the tornado. The storm continued to the northeast. It produced a weak and brief F2 tornado before completely fizzling away, as if it had expended all the energy it had into the earth.
On your
Oh
FM
my
dial
God.
on
Oh my
104.1,
God.
107.7.
Mike,
That is
swap.
damage.
Mike.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Jim.
Mike,
Yes,
you
you're live.
got to look at this. This is phenomenal. It's gone. The neighborhood is gone. We are over a neighborhood just west of Tinker Air Force Base. It is gone.
Look at that,
Mike.
man.
I'm just following the swath of where this went. It's probably at least a quarter mile wide.
Oh.
Here, look at this. It's the whole neighborhood, Mike. The whole neighborhood is gone.
Those that are listening
You're
on
looking at
radio, we're looking at damage of what was a neighborhood. Unfortunately, it looks now.
It's totally destroyed.
It is.
What was
one
a
of those
neighborhood?
pieces. It's
That's exactly
absolutely
right.
Incredible. These are homes that
Was.
are no longer homes.
No roofs,
just
no
scattered
walls.
debris for miles. And
Still wide enough to completely level half of it. May 3rd, 1999.
That is insane. First off, 330 miles per hour. That is insane. Because I thought El Reno was insane, right? Because it got like 298 or something like that. This here was getting over 330 miles per hour. And the destruction it caused to those vehicles has to be the strongest tornado ever recorded. Has to be. Once again, I'm going to echo it. Moore, Oklahoma. This also hit parts of Moore, Oklahoma. They had two other big incidents in 1999 and 2011, 2013. I can't remember. I think it was 2013. Whoever the government officials are there, you need to make community underground bunkers. I'm going to say it in every video until I hear that that's already been done or is being done. They need underground bunkers there. No, I mean, with the amount of money you're dumping into like rebuilding and stuff, I get it. Like, there's nothing you can do about that, the damage caused to the houses, but the lives lost, I feel like at this point shouldn't be happening as badly. There should be a few community underground bunkers that can hold 20, 30 people. Even if you have to cram them in there like sardines, something underground to keep these people safe. But I'm not going to go on that tangent for too long. I just wanted to echo that. Holy dude, the Bridge Creek tornado was insane. 330 miles per hour, it was wrapping cars around telephone poles. Blows my mind. With that said, if you guys have any more ideas, any more tornadoes you want me to react to, sling it in the comments below. But with that said, I am Cheap. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.